Good morning. It is 11:47 a.m., almost not morning, on Saturday, September 28th, 2019. I'm Christiana Ellis, and yeah, I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. Definitely needed to catch up on sleep today, just because I didn't really get a lot of sleeping in done on the vacation because we were off there seeing and doing stuff. And then had to get up earlier than usual a couple of, on Thursday and Friday once I was back. So I was definitely looking for some sleeping in to do. In fact, I think I was anticipating the sleeping in so much that I actually stayed up even later last night, partly just I wasn't doing anything, not of note, I wasn't staying up to finish something or anything like that. It was really just like farting around, scrolling Twitter, stuff like that. But I ended up staying a bit later, and so I slept in, which is fine because the only thing I have to do today is my improv class, which is a little bit later this afternoon, and probably going to play some D&D, party to be determined later tonight. Still working on organizing to see if anything's going to actually come from that. And then I have to work tomorrow just because, as I've mentioned, I think in the last couple of days, there's like sort of a critical period of activity happening at work right now. And so there's a need to do some extra stuff, which is fine. I'm going to do it. And doing it even, you might say. But yeah, so that means that today is, my one-day weekend, which is already feeling a little bit off just because, of course, I was on vacation, which made my Thursday feel like a Monday. So today feels a little bit like having a Wednesday off. But, you do what you're going to do. I had some audio editing to do on a project that I've mentioned once or twice recently. That I, until it's like formally done, I'm not gonna say what it is. Although, just a reminder, the newest episode of Pseudopod, which is a podcast, is a story where I did the reading, so you can check that out if you're into it. But yeah, so I had a lot of audio to edit. Like this is a thing where the total final length is like an hour and 50 minutes, and so that's a fair amount to edit. And I was planning last evening to spend like an hour and a half on that, which wouldn't get it done, and then, move on to playing some video games. But I actually kind of just rolled on through it, and I spent most of the evening doing that. I made some dinner and then just kind of settled in to work on the audio editing just to sort of get it done. And that felt pretty good, although it's one of those constant things where the different parts of your brain can't, just because you make a decision to do something doesn't mean that the other parts of your brain shut up about it. So basically, I'm glad that I did it because now it's complete and now I'm free. I don't have to figure out when I'm going to do the rest of it. But the other part of my brain that wants to play video games was like, but you promised, and then I didn't do it. And so it's like, it's dumb stuff. Parts of our brains are pretty dumb. But it's not dumb to want to do fun things, of course. It's just, it's all a matter of balance and moderation and all of those fancy sounding words. But, just kind of doing what you do, right? Like kind of rolling. Oh, so maybe speaking of video games, right now I still have a bunch more to play in Outer Wilds, which I want to get to. But I'm kind of focused right now on Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, the new Switch version, which is pretty great. It's very cute and I love it. And then there's also Untitled Goose Game, which I don't think is very long. So probably if I just focused on that one, I would go ahead and finish that one. But there's so many games, right? Because I still have to finish Octopath Traveler, which I loved. And then I kind of talked myself into replaying Zelda Breath of the Wild for some reason, I mean, it's a great game, but I just mean, replaying a long game when there's lots of other games to play does feel like, ugh. It's all fine now. It's all good. I'm back. I'm back, baby, from my trip. I think that whenever I schedule a trip, it does sort of tend to produce a flavor of anxiety about it. Anticipation, perhaps, because anxiety is not always inherently negative. But yeah, so it always does just like feel like it divides time in between. It's like, well, it's the time up until the trip where I have to make sure I'm getting ready to do the trip, and then after the trip is like, whew, that's done. Even if it was a fun trip, which of course my trip last week absolutely was. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go take a shower so that I'll be ready for my improv class later, and then I'm probably gonna play some video games. So talk to you tomorrow for 5 more minutes when it will be Sunday, and it will be once again time to do my rewatch of Cowboy Bebop, and we'll be talking about Session 3, Honky Tonk Woman, which is the introduction of Faye Valentine, who I have a lot of affection for. So I'll leave it there. Talk to you tomorrow for 5 more minutes.